What is a Slovak Living Abroad certificate? How do you get one? And most importantly, what benefits does it have? Those are all good questions. I'm going to answer those questions in this video. So first of all, backing up, my name is Parviz Malakouti Fitzgerald. I am an immigration attorney, and I'm also the admin of the Facebook group, Slovak Living Abroad Certificate and Slovak Citizenship. In that group, we talk about how you get a Slovak Living Abroad certificate for descendants of Slovak and Czechoslovak citizens. And we also speak about new updates with regards to the Slovak citizenship by descent provisions. If you want to join that group, you're welcome to. The link is in the video description below. So now getting back to Slovak Living Abroad certificate, this is a question that I see all the time. I've probably been asked literally over 100 times, what are the benefits of a Slovak Living Abroad certificate? How do you get one? What is it exactly? So in this video, I wanted to explain exactly what that is. A Slovak Living Abroad certificate is a pseudo citizenship. It's kind of like a level below citizenship that Slovakia gives to the descendants of Slovak and Czechoslovak citizens who are abroad, okay, who are not in Slovakia. Now, what do I mean when I say a pseudo citizenship? You don't get a passport with a Slovak Living Abroad certificate. What you get with it is the ability to live, work, open a business, or study in Slovakia indefinitely. So it's kind of like a green card, a permanent green card, although it's not a residence permit itself. What a Slovak Living Abroad certificate does is it gives the holder, the recipient, the ability to apply for a residence permit and then stay in Slovakia indefinitely. If that holder of the Slovak Living Abroad certificate stays in Slovakia for 3 years, if they have 3 years of residence, they can apply to naturalize after 3 years, which is much shorter than the regular route. Physically, it looks like a card. It's actually a physical card that's a little bit bigger than a driver's license. And aside from the benefits that it gives to somebody of Slovak descent, it's a cool thing to have. If you're a Slovak descendant, if you're into your Slovak identity, it might be a cool thing for you to get a Slovak Living Abroad certificate. So that's what it is. That's how it benefits you. Now, who qualifies and how do you get a Slovak Living Abroad certificate? So a Slovak Living Abroad certificate is available to the descendant of anybody who was basically a citizen of what's modern day Slovakia. There's no generational limit on how far your relation is to the ancestor that actually lived in Slovakia. So it could have been your father, your great-grandfather, your grandfather, or maybe even your great-great-grandfather. But you do have to be the descendant of somebody that was basically from Slovakia, from modern day Slovakia. Okay, so what do you need to apply? First of all, you need to prove that chain of descent from all the way from the qualifying family member to yourself. So let's say, for example, if it's your great-grandfather that was born in modern-day Slovakia, you need to get your great-grandfather's birth certificate, your grandmother or grandfather's birth certificate, then your mother or father's birth certificate, and then your birth certificate. So you need to prove the entire chain. Now, that's not the end of it. You also need to get each one of those birth documents apostilled, okay? One thing that we're not really that used to in the United States is the idea of an apostille, but it's big in Europe. Basically, getting a document apostilled basically means that you get the government that issued that document to certify that the person who signed the document was acting in their capacity to sign the document. So let me give you an example. You get a birth certificate. I was born in California, for example. If I want to get my California birth certificate apostilled, basically I get the California birth certificate, then I send it back to the state of California with a request for it to be apostilled. Okay, there's instructions for it. I'll link to those in the video description below, okay? And the state of California basically verifies that the person who signed my birth certificate, the registrar or whoever it may be, had the authority to sign that birth certificate. So it's kind of an extra level of authentication. So birth documents, getting back to our point for qualification, you need to get them, and then they need to be apostilled. And then the last thing is you need to get any documents that are not in Slovak translated, okay? So each one of those documents in your chain of descent, you need to get the document, get it apostilled if it's in the United States or if it's outside of Slovakia. And third, you need to get it translated, okay? So that's proving the lineage. The next requirement for the Slovak Living Abroad certificate is that you need to show cultural familiarity. So familiarity with the Slovak culture. It's kind of a vague standard put forth by the government of Slovakia. Basically, the way you qualify, the way you satisfy this requirement is you join a Slovak cultural organization, you participate in that organization, and then you get a letter from the Slovak cultural organization that is attesting to your cultural familiarity, okay, which in practice means basically, yes, he's our member, he attends, he does our events, etc., etc. Now, one thing is the Slovak organization that you join should be in your country, okay? You want it to be preferably local if you can, but now during COVID times, a lot of activities, most activities have been done via Zoom or video conferencing. You want to make sure you join a cultural organization that's in your country, okay? If you're in the United States or Canada, I'm going to link to some cultural organizations that would qualify below, okay? And you can check them out. You can see which one you want to join. And then after you've gained enough period of time, being a part of that organization and participating, you can request you can request from the decision maker of that organization that they provide a letter attesting to your cultural familiarity, okay? So that's the second requirement. First one is basically proving the lineage. The second one is showing cultural familiarity. The next thing is you need to show, as number 3, language, familiarity with the Slovak language, okay? Again, this is a vague standard, maybe even more vague than actually the cultural familiarity standard, okay? There's no document in particular that you have to put forth. If you've taken Slovak courses, if you got a certification to the A1, A2, B1 level, or maybe beyond, you might want to include that. It's not absolutely necessary, but the idea is that when you go in person to submit your Slovak Living Abroad certificate application, and you do have to go in person, the idea is that you're going to interact a little bit with the consular officer that's dealing with you, okay? So that's the third requirement, okay? We said first, proving the lineage, secondly, the cultural familiarity requirement, and the third, the language familiarity requirement, okay? The next thing is you need to get an FBI background check. If you're from the United States, if you're from another country, you need to get a similar equivalent background check, okay? In the United States, anybody can get an FBI background check. The way you do it is basically you find a provider of biometrics, okay? Biometrics means fingerprints, okay? It can be the post office. You basically go, you get your fingerprints taken, they get sent to the FBI, okay? And then you get back a report with whatever your background is, okay? The formal term is identity summary history, okay? I have a video on that. I'm going to link to it right here, okay? I'm also going to link below to the first website that you need to go to get started on that process. Now, what I recommend is if you live by a qualifying post office, there's about, I believe, 100 post offices throughout the United States that can take your fingerprints for the purposes of an FBI background check. I recommend you go to one of those U.S. Postal Service offices. They're quick, they're easy, they know what to do, and the cost for that is about, I believe it's $70 or $80 total, okay, to get your fingerprints taken and to get the FBI background check, okay? The last requirement is the actual application itself, okay? You need to fill out an application with your biographical information. It's in Slovak. I'll also link to that below as well in the video description, okay? You put together all these documents when you have them, okay? The qualifying documents, the apostilles that are needed, the translations, okay? And then you contact either if you're from the United States, if you're in the United States, either the Slovak consulate that's in Washington, D.C., or the one that's in New York, and you set up an appointment, okay? You have to set up an appointment in advance. Right now, as of the recording of this video, the DC consulate is taking appointments about 6 weeks out. Obviously, by the time you're watching this video, I don't know how long that'll be, but you need to contact them, set an appointment, and then you need to come in person to basically submit the documentation, present your application, and then of course, interact a little bit in Slovak, okay? Now by law, Slovakia is supposed to respond and adjudicate your Slovak Living Abroad certificate within 60 days. Whether it's going to take longer than that, possibly, okay? The way it works basically is that when you submit the documentation to the consulate, it gets sent to Bratislava, to what's called the Slovak Living Abroad office, okay? It's actually an office that they have over there. Currently, the president is a very kind guy named Jan Milan Pilip, who's very much into connecting with the diaspora. They adjudicate the application, okay? And they give you the answer, okay? So that's it for a Slovak Living Abroad certificate application, okay? If you're into this, if you're of Slovak ancestry, and there should be about at least 800,000 of you in the United States, according to statistics. If you're into this, Feel free to join our Facebook group, the one that I mentioned. It's called Slovak Living Abroad Certificate and Slovak Citizenship. Again, the link is in the video description. We have a community together here. We love talking about these things, strategizing for the Slovak Living Abroad Certificate, for Slovak language, culture, how to get citizenship. It's just about basically being into your Slovak heritage and culture. So if you're into that, join our group, answer all 3 questions. We'd love to hear from you. Last thing I'll say before I let you go, when you're gathering all of this documentation, it can be kind of difficult to keep track of all the documents. So what I recommend you do is what I did, which is to get a really nice binder. This is a leather binder from Amazon. It's beautiful. It actually feels good. It looks good. It kind of gets you, calm and excited to gather documents, which is otherwise like a pretty boring activity. So I recommend you get one of these. I'll link to it in a link to the Amazon product description in the video description below. The next thing is make sure you get some of these plastic sleeves, okay, so you can put the documents in there, okay. As you can see, these are basically my documents. You can see it says apostille, okay, that's what an apostille looks like, and it just makes it nice and neat. It's easy to keep track of, so I recommend you do that. And then also, if you have any questions, if you have any issues or confusion about your genealogy, how to figure out where exactly your ancestor was born, maybe you're not sure if they were born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire or Czechia or Slovakia, I recommend you check out this book, okay? It's called The Family Tree Polish, Czech, and Slovak Genealogy Guide, How to Trace Your Family Tree in Eastern Europe. It's by Lisa Alzo, who's an amateur genealogist. She's great. She has a lot of great tips, a lot of great information on how you can basically research your genealogy and get those documents, which can sometimes be challenging to get. Now, I want to warn anybody who's watching this video, it could take 6 months, maybe even a year, maybe even longer to track down these documents and get them, okay? So this is a fantastic resource. Again, I will link to this in the video description below so you can go right to Amazon and get it. And that's basically it. Anybody watching this video that's gonna go on this journey, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you join the group. I hope you join our community. And I hope eventually you become a Slovak living abroad, okay? And I hope you enjoy that status. That's it. Have a great one.